So now we get to truth, freedom and social justice. Should truth and facts be a defence in a court of law?
Say that again.
Should truth and facts be a defence in a court of law?
Should truth and facts be defence?
Be a defence in a court of law.
Yes.
What is more important, full disclosure of the data and facts or protecting someone's feelings?
Full disclosure.
So what is more important to you, truth or freedom?
They're inseparable. You can't have freedom without truth, and you can't have truth without freedom.
And if you discovered some information that was counter to mainstream socio-political belief, would you keep it to yourself or would you share it, even if that meant that you could face jail time?
Jail.
And what is more important, rights of the individual, kindness and care of minorities, or freedom of speech?
They're all important.
But if you had to rank them?
Freedom of speech has to be defined, and freedom of speech has to be tempered with very clear and concise defamation laws. No one should have the freedom of speech to wrongly defame someone without recourse. The other two were?
What is more important? Rights of the individual, kindness and care of minorities.
Yeah, rights of the individual have to be clearly defined as well. An individual has a right to be naked on certain beaches, and other beaches, parents mightn't want naked people running with their children. Rights of the individual to marry their dog or their horse. Rights of the individual have to be clearly defined.
What is more important, your perception of the world or facts?
Facts.
And now we have questions on equality and egalitarianism. What is more important, equality or freedom?
Equality is a very, very dangerous word, and it's one of the massive weapons. It was a massive weapon in the French Revolution that took the heads off 80,000 people over 10 years. 10 years to cut the heads off 80,000 people in the name of equality. I call it equalism. The French took out about 250,000 of their brightest genes, G-E-N-E-S, which is probably one of the reasons why the French have had difficulty for the rest of the time, because they rubbed out a huge part of their intelligent gene pool. Then the wars that resulted of it, as a result of the French Revolution, in the name of equality. And equality has broached itself into the school system to a shocking extent, to the extent that now an employee working for an employer believes in the inevitability of their profound equalness, which results in them unable to apprentice themselves to the employer. Because they believe they're equal, they believe they're empowered with all knowledge, wisdom and experience as a right to themselves. So to the extent when they go for a job, they say, how much do we get paid? They can't say, how much am I able to earn? Is there a chance for bonuses or extra commissions, or am I able to work how much will my income increase if I'm exactly what you want me to be? Because they're already equal, they have lost the individual right to have a goal-setting capacity. Teaching children that they're equal is an aghast thing to do to a child, because it makes the ones who are beautifully tall stoop. It makes the ones who've got a good figure stoop their shoulders. It makes the ones who speak clearly mumble. It slows down the sports people to an extent. It gives license to those who are inferior in any respect to make no effort to catch up. Equality is one of the desire for equality is one of the great inhibitors of human development. When that equality is given as a right instead of as an example that you are equal in opportunity, and the Christians will say you're equal before God. Really, there's no other equality. No one has equal strength, no one has equal intelligence, no one has equal taste buds, no one has equal scent, no one has equal hearing, no one has equal mental capacity. There's no two people play an identical game of chess. Equality is one of the great destructive, the desire for equality, or the teaching of equality, is one of the great destructive tools of socialism designed to destroy a small business enterprise society.
I saw a quote on Twitter, and it said, "Winning is racist."
Yeah, yeah. It was John Carrick who, after 20 years of being General Secretary and socialising the Liberal Party, entered the Senate, was immediately appointed Minister of Education, and he set about preparing this thought you're talking about, that you play the game to have fun, not to win. And there was a headmaster called Trathan at Newington College who built a...
So when did that start?
68.
68.
Trathan was his name in Newington College. He built a chapel.
Yeah.
And around the walls of the chapel were Buddha, Aliyat, which was the original name of Allah,
yeah,
before Muhammad stole the stone idol head Aliyat in Medina and took it to in Mecca and took it to Medina and renamed it Allah. So the Hindu and other deities were given diversity and equality in the Christian chapel at Newington College by arch-socialist Trathan, the headmaster.
So as a society, should we strive for equality of outcome or inequality of outcome?
We should strive, as a society, each individual in society should strive to elect politicians who will provide the climate for equal opportunity in business. Everyone has equality in opportunity. Everyone's got two hands, and the ones without two hands can use their feet to paint.
Yep.
It's the opportunity to make a self-reliant living that should be the primary function of government. The government's primary function is very simple. Consumer confidence, which comes from small business confidence. Small business employs 70%. If small business has confidence, then their employees have confidence that they're not going to get sacked, that their income's going to continue, that their boss isn't going to go under, and they're the people that start consumer confidence. When there's consumer confidence, then people spend money and job opportunities are created and the world takes over. One of the greatest destroyers of equal opportunity in Australia was brought out by Malcolm Fraser's treasurer, John Howard, when John Howard introduced the nationalisation tax called the GST. The GST put 50,000 small business operators out of business before their second BAS, and started a $7 billion internet trade of overseas retail purchases. It was a totally unnecessary thing to do. We didn't need the GST. The GST, though, was the tool of the Woolworths and the Coles to destroy the competition, and Bunnings and all that. Never buy from them. They destroyed all the small hardware shops, they destroyed all the pot makers, and they destroyed thousands of small manufacturers. The GST did. And because small business always loves big tax, because big tax is something that they've got liquidity to handle and small business doesn't. So if you repeat that question for me.
As a society, should we strive for equality of outcome or inequality of outcome?
We should strive for equality and opportunity.
Yeah.
And we should strive to ensure that small business owners aren't compared to a big business owner. There's an idiot of a man who's also a liar called Steve Chabot, who's the member for Fuller, or member for a federal seat. And I attended a function at the entertainment centre where small business people were asked to meet him, and the Minister for Small Business at the time, his name fails me, Bruce, I think, Bruce someone or other. And they had produced a document saying this paid parental leave is the wonderful introduction because it puts small business on a level playing field with big business and the public service. So small business will now be able to compete for the first time properly against big business and the public service on the basis that everyone's going to get paid parental leave, so you'll be able to. So big business won't have an advantage over small business anymore. It's the best thing that ever happened to small business, is what Steve Chabot said. And I stood up and I said, small business can't afford to employ big business employees, and anyone working for the public service is working for the public service because basically they're unemployable in small business because they work totally for entitlement and not for the profitability. And the other thing Steve Chabot said, he said it's not a tax. It's $7 billion, it's not a tax. He said we're going to put a levy on big business to pay for it. Well, every small business knows, and this is the truth, every small business knows that when big business expense increases, it is small business that pays, because small business is one of the principal suppliers to big business. And big business, when they pay more tax, when the tax rate goes up, small business pays for it. And the levy was never going to be only on big business, because small business always know that they are charged to cover the cost of big business. So that question really just simply comes down to opportunity.
Yeah.
And a government's primary responsibility is to ensure that there's buoyant, live, growing, enthusiastic consumer confidence, which cannot take place when a government allows Australian manufacturers to go under and allows big business Australia to destroy small Australian manufacturers.
Please take a moment to like and subscribe, remembering to click on the bell. Then check the comments box below to join our team of patrons and crew. And you can always find me on Facebook at the Peace Mapping Group. The link is in the comments box. And once again, thanks and all the best to you.